Most High God, please block anybody trying to interfere with this reading and this video. Do step in and deliver your messages to we your children. So today we're gonna do some more Bible study, guys. Let's explore. Let's explore the Bible. I was just chilling and I was guided to open the Bible, and when I opened it, I felt the page and it felt like here. uh, so yeah, I've been asked to share this with those of you who visit this channel and actually watch our videos. So, John chapter 5, verses 1 to 43. Wait, my ears itching me. This is Mother God saying, clean out no ears and listen. This one is for the Jews who claim say that them are Jews, but they are not. They're actually of the synagogue of Satan. Okay. Another one of my crochet projects, y'all. Let me give you a close up. I cut off the straps and just crocheted some on because I think it looks more fun. I know. I like it too. All right, let's get down to business. So, John chapter 5 is titled The Pool of Bethesda. I'm reading from the Expositor's Study Bible. It's by Jimmy Swaggart. Okay. It has a whole bunch of red writing in there where they are trying to give their explanations of what they think the scripture mean, but I tap in directly to the Most High. I don't even read the red part, even in my private time. I don't know if they're right or if they're wrong. But when I read, I prefer to read so that I can get my own understanding, just in case they misunderstood. Somebody got to get it right. But if we're all kind of bouncing off of each other, then if one person get it wrong, we may all just get it wrong if we're following that one person. So no disrespect to those who revised the text and tried to give some explanation and understanding of what is actually being said. But I could tap into the divine too, and so can you, and 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 so we should. Okay, just in case one of us get it wrong. We don't have no time to be getting the scripture wrong. We don't have no time to be misunderstanding God and misunderstanding life. We've done that for too long already. Okay, time to clear this shit up. Right. So, let's get into the reading. All right. The Pool of Bethesda. After verse 1. Chapter 5, verse 1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Those of y'all who want to follow along, you can get your book too. Hopefully you have a physical copy. Please, everybody need to get a physical copy of the Bible. Do not rely on Google. Do not rely on the electricity always being there. Okay? Do not rely on the text remaining the same when people just have to a couple tap of the keys and change what you see on the screen right before your eyes. Have a physical copy of the Bible in your possession. There's a lot of valuable information in there. Okay? And a dictionary too. Have a physical copy of a dictionary and the Bible. And books that you could write private notes in. Stop relying on your phones. They're easy to hack. And if electricity gone, everything gone. Old school is always the best. It's nice to modernize, but it's safer. To respect foundation. Okay, so now that we gotten that out the way. So we got after this chapter verse 1, chapter 5 verse 1, John chapter 5 verse 1. After this there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Verse 2. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. 3, verse 3. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered. So basically, sick people. Waiting for the moving of the water. So that's why they chill out by this pool. Okay, it's like a healing place. Verse 4. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. Now, one thing I have to ask right here is, why do they keep saying he? Why they can't say like they had? Because it's like, were there only men at this pool? Were there no women there? Trying to get healed, trying to be whole. I find that very questionable. Anywho, so verse 5, and a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. 38 years this man was sick. Verse 6, when Jesus saw him lie, I'm guessing that means he was laying down, right? And knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, will you be made whole? Okay. Verse 7, the impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. But while I'm coming, another steps down before me. That's verse 7. I want to go over that again. The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me in the pool, into the pool. But while I am coming, another steps down before me. So whatever illness this man had is like it stopped him from being able to move quickly. Okay? Because somebody always gets in the water before him. But whatever it was really like crippling him. Hang on. Some of the poison is on my finger and I keep putting it in my eye. Because I touched my phone screen. And as you know, they're trying to poison me right now. It's okay. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing anyway. I'm going to ignore them. Okay, so okay, so he was really ill and he couldn't move to go down in the water when he saw the water move by the angel. Okay, but Jesus came by and saw him, and Jesus asked him, will you be made whole? All right, and that was his answer. He's like, I'm trying, but every time I tried to get in the pool, somebody else beat me to it. All right, so verse 8, Jesus said unto him, rise, take up your bed and walk. Just like that. And immediately, verse 9, sorry. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Gang, gang. Verse 10. Because apparently, or it is said that no work is to be done on the Sabbath day. Okay? So let's read on and see what else happened after that. Verse 10. The Jews therefore said unto him who was cured, it is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for you to carry your bed. So some Jews passed by and see him carrying his bed and was like, hey, where you going? What you doing? Today is the day of rest. You're not supposed to be doing any work. Right. Verse 11. He answered them, he who made me whole, the same said unto me, take up your bed and walk. Okay. Verse 12. Then answered they him, what man is this? What man is that which said unto you, take up your bed and walk? That's verse 12. Now, verse 13. And he who was healed knew not who it was. So, let's finish this verse and then. So, verse 13. And he who was healed knew not who it was, for Jesus had conveyed himself away, a multiple being in that place. So Jesus just basically came in, talked to him, blessed him, rolled out. Okay? So he didn't know Jesus. He didn't recognize his form. But let's go back and just check out what just took place. Sorry. My eye's still burning me. So let's go back and really check out what happened. So this man was there sick for 38 years, right? At this pool where he know people usually get healed because the angel come and move the water, and when that happen, whoever go in there first, they get healed, right? So this man was just chilling there, waiting and hoping to get the chance to get healed from his sickness, right? And this random man came up to him and said to him, will you be made whole? And the sick man replied, well, I'm trying to get healed, but every time the water moves, somebody else beat me to it because I can't really move that fast, innit? So Jesus said to him, take up your bed and walk. And the sick man, who has been sick for 38 years, got up, took up his bed, and walked immediately. immediately. He don't know who this man is that asked him if he want to get better. Some random man just come and ask him, you want to get better? A man was like, yeah, I've been trying, but they always beat me to it because I can't really move fast like that. This random man said, take up your bed and walk. And dude who was sick for 38 years, take up his bed and walk. What made him do that? He didn't ask no questions. Man didn't ask no question. It's like he didn't give a rebuttal. Like, I've been sick for 38 years. What do you mean by take up my bed and walk? I can't walk. He just believed. He was just like, okay, no problem. Man took up his bed and rolled out. Interesting. Maybe I'm missing a lot, but let's move on. So, all right. So, verse 14. So after he took up his bed and walked, the Jews saw him walking with his bed, and the Jews were like, why are you carrying your bed on this day? Today is a day of rest. You're not supposed to be doing anything. And he was like, this dude just told me to take up my bed and walk, so I took up my bed and walked. So it's like, how long was he walking before the Jews saw him? Where was he going? And what kind of offense could that be, that you're carrying your lodgings, like, so on the Sabbath day, were you not allowed to leave your house at all? You know? Anyway, that sounds like a kind of police state to me. It's like some military, forceful, you know? So they want to portray themselves as though they are so godly. Okay, let's read on. The Jews were trying to portray themselves like they're highly religious, highly godly. Everybody must respect these rules. Okay. So, verse 14. So the Jews asked him who it was. The man didn't know who it was that told him to take up his bed and walk, right? But it's like, was that the end of the conversation? Did the man not tell them that he was sick and he was by the pool and he was trying to get better? And, you know, it's like the story. What kind of explanation is that? You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, let's continue. So 14, verse 14. Afterwards, Jesus finds him in the temple and said unto him, behold, you are made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you. That's verse 14. So the reason why the man was sick in the first place was because he was doing something that he was not supposed to. He was being very naughty and God struck him down and he suffered that karma for 38 years. Whatever this man was doing before he got ill, his judgment, his sentence by the divine was to be sick and unable to walk around freely, basically become a prisoner in his body for 38 years. So it's like, what did he do? But anywho, let's continue. So Jesus said to him, you're better now. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you. So Jah was like, if you go back to do the same shit that you were doing before, I swear, you gonna wish you were never born. You think what you suffered and how long you suffered was bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. That's basically what Jesus was saying. All right. So 15, that's verse 15. Oh no, that was verse 14. Okay, now we're on verse 15. The man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus which had made him whole. Why did he have to go and tell the Jews that it was Jesus who made him whole? Did this all happen on the same day? I'm hearing yes. Okay, see, I got connection straight to the divine, okay? Okay, so this all happened on the same day. So dude wanted to be a good citizen. He went and told the Jews who it was that told him to take up his bed and walk. Right. So they were like, oh, it's Jesus. Okay. So the man departed, verse 15, the man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him whole. Right. Verse 16. And therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to kill him because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. So did the Jews know that this man was sick for 38 years and he was made whole? So what? God not supposed to bless people on the Sabbath day? What if somebody is in trouble, God's supposed to leave them because it's the Sabbath day? It's like the story with the donkey when it fell down in the well. Like somebody asked, if the donkey fall down in the well on the Sabbath day, are we supposed to leave it there? That don't make no sense. Yes, the Sabbath day is to be kept holy, and if you don't have to do something, then you put it off. It's a time where you just be still. You connect with yourself, you connect with the divine, you connect with silence, you connect with, if you're not a person who meditate like on a regular basis, when I say meditate, I mean like if you're not a person who connect to the ethers, just be and let messages come to you. You know, just let your thoughts wander. If you're not a person like that, then on the Sabbath day, like if you work 6 days, at least you get 1 day to yourself where you can kind of regroup. Okay? Because more important than what we do for society is our connection with the universe, with God, with ourselves. So we can't just put our work and our duties towards other people and other things as a priority and forget about self. So that's what the Sabbath day is about. It's about reconnecting with self, higher self, aka God. Okay. But obviously, if you need to do something on the Sabbath day, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's just it's like towing that line. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the Jews took it way out of context. How ridiculous is it? But anyway, let's get back to this. So, yeah, so verse 16 said that the Jews they persecuted Jesus and sought to kill him because he had healed someone on the Sabbath day. God is God every day, all day. So Jews, if you are sick right now, would you prefer if God stop all healing on the Sabbath day? Every time the Sabbath day come around, nobody tall can ever hope to get healed. If you get in a car accident or if you fall, let me not say car accident because maybe you don't drive on the Sabbath day, but let's say you fall down the stairs in your house or something on the Sabbath day. Are you not supposed to be able to have access to medical attention because it's the Sabbath day? This is what y'all persecuted and killed Jesus for. Or tried to kill Jesus, because Jesus can't dead. But y'all definitely persecuted him. All right. Let's dig in some more. So verse 17, it says, this verse is titled Equality with God, right? This part of the chapter, sorry, is titled Equality with God. The first one is titled The Pool of Bethesda, so they're basically showing how it all started. Then we got Equality with God. This is the next title. So that's what this part of the reading is about. So verse 17. So after they tried to kill Jesus because Jesus healed somebody on the Sabbath day, it says, but Jesus answered them, my Father worketh hitherto, and I work. What does that mean? God save people all day, every day. That's what that means. And I represent God, so I work too. Especially doing that type of work. Was I supposed to come back the next day and heal the man? I'm here right now. And I'm doing a good thing. I'm doing a wonderful thing. It was the man's time to get out of jail. The jail being his own body. So this wasn't about man's laws. This healing was about God's justice system. God had that man in jail, his body, he was imprisoned in his body for 38 years. And it so happened that his release date was on the Sabbath day. Who are you? Human beings. This is how ridiculous they were. It was his release date. God, you have your own court system going on, and God has its own court system going on. This is what I keep trying to tell you people. Y'all keep paying attention to everything that is physical, and y'all completely shut out the spirit realm, God's realm, God's government, God's police, God's court, God's laws. It don't matter how much we ignore them, they still apply. It's just that we're not going to understand what's going on in our life because we don't pay attention to God's court system. We think that these court of law on the land that we see with our physical eye is the only court system there are. No, baby. That's why we talk about karma. That's God's justice system. It's a real thing. This man was suffering his karma for 38 years. And it so happened that his release date was on a Sabbath day. But the Jews just see themselves as so high and mighty and think that they're so godly. And they completely miss that this is God's realm too. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness therein. God come first. God is the real Trump. God is the Trump of all Trumps. God is the King of all kings, the Lord of all lords, the Queen of all queens, the Empress of all empresses, the Emperor of all emperors, the Prime Minister of all prime ministers, the President of all presidents. Are you understanding me? You need to know your place. You're second. Anyway, let's see what Jesus responded. So, verse 17. But Jesus answered them, my Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Verse 18. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him. Was it a lie? He didn't lie. He said, God be working, so I'm working. God set the command that this man must be set free. So I came to do what my Father told me to do. And you want to persecute and kill him. Who are you? Okay. So verse 18 wasn't finished. It's verse 18 said, therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his father, making himself equal with God. Isn't God all of our Father? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. How stupid are these people? God is the God of creation. Therefore, God is everybody's father and everybody's mother. Stupid people with power. Just like today. Stupid people with influence. Just like today. So they want to kill him. First, they said that he uh, committed a crime by healing someone on the Sabbath day. His second crime so far, in as I'm seeing here, is he called God his father. Okay, so verse 19, then answered Jesus unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. For what things soever he does, these also do the Son likewise. Christ like. Who's the first Christ? God. That's why I tell y'all, Jesus was only sent here to be a living example of God in the flesh. God itself had to manifest in flesh and go through the journey just like every other human being and be that example, which says, even though we look the same, in here, we are different. This is what separates us. Our choices, our belief system, what we know, how we think, how we move, what we believe in. God had to come in physical flesh so that and experience the human experience, right? God itself came in physical flesh through Emmanuel, aka Jesus, and experience the human experience and still not express himself the way that regular humans express themselves, so that he can show regular humans that there is another way. Hence, we have I am the way, the truth, and the life. So basically, Jesus's whole message when Jesus came is like, not like that, like this. Jesus' whole message was, you got that little bit skewed. You got that a little bit mixed up. Here's the truth of the matter. Jesus is actually God in the flesh. That's who Jesus is. Jesus is the first true Christian. God itself is the first Christ. So that makes the Jesus persona a Christian, like Christ. But still, Jesus is the first. So Jesus also is the Christ. So both of those things are true. Because Jesus said, verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself. He take his instructions from the divine. I don't move unless the divine tell me to move. That's what Jesus is basically saying. I work for the divine. So if you see me do something, it's because I've been given divine instruction to do so. And he didn't say it, but basically what else he's saying is God outrank you. I'm doing the work of my Father. Like, why are you bothering me? I'm not doing anything wrong in the Father's eyes. Why are you bothering me? Why are you persecuting me? I do not live to serve you. I live to serve God, and God instructed me. Why are you bothering me? Jew, who say you are Jew but are not. You're actually just of the synagogue of Satan. That's why you're bothering me. Because you know better. How awkward are you? If you were sick, would you prefer if God left you there on the floor? If you fell down your stairs, would you prefer if God left you there because it's the Sabbath day? If your wife or your mother or your child, this is how stupid these people were. And they are who are running society. And they are who are running society now. Want to fine and imprison people for catching rainwater. It's the same idiots. So imagine how many thousands of years these people been reigning. Them and their sons and their grandson and their great grandson and their granddaughter and their generations, bruv. It's the same stupid people from back then. It must be. Because it's the same stupid thinking. And they think they're so intelligent. I can't wait to see your judgment. But anyway, let's read on. So, verse 19 finished up with, for what things soever he does, these also do the Son likewise. Shit, I'm doing what God do. What's your beef? Verse 20, for the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that himself does. So God taught him. God taught Jesus. How did God teach Jesus? How did God teach you? All the good things that you do, how did God teach you? We're not going to look at the negative right now. Experience. Jesus was a man who paid attention to life. So that means his mother was somebody who put him on that kind of mindset to be very studious at a young age. These are the things that the Bible don't tell you. But the reason why certain women are chosen to bring forth certain seeds is because God knows the kind of training you're going to give to that child. The same goes for the father of that child. And if the father of that child is not going to be the type of example that God wants in that child's life, so that the child grow up being who God wanted to be, or having the best chance, God will remove that man or remove that woman. Because it takes, yes, I believe that some children are born with certain gifts, but there's a certain dependency that children are born with. And Jesus was born with the same, Jesus was born with the same dependencies as other babies. He was a baby. He had to be carried. He had to be protected. There was a time when he learned to walk. He couldn't talk. He had to be fed. God took on the human experience, took the time to grow up, and showed a difference in his personality, in his thinking, because that's the pathway that the influences that were around him put him on. So it's like who you grow up around, speaking to those who are positive now, who you grow up around, they started you off on a positive path. And then as you grew, you made it bigger. You expanded your knowledge. You didn't have to get everything that you know from them. You had your own life experiences, and you put the mathematics together. You figured out how to behave in life, how to treat people, how to treat yourself, how to take care of your nutrition, things like that. Everything. Okay? It's the same thing with Jesus. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that himself does. So when we're interacting with nature, that's us interacting with God. So if we are to be true to the things that nature shows us, that's God teaching us. The fire is hot. When you touch the fire, it burns. That's God teaching you the fire is hot. A lot of the time, God don't talk. But there's still communication. You don't know the fire is hot before you touch the fire.
You didn't open it though.
No.
It's probably a lot smaller. You should open it.
So why the box so big?
Because it's got foam and padding around it.
Well, I hope that's all it is. Okay. Need a bigger fridge to match our big blender. See. All right, guys, I'm back. Let's see. So yeah, so everybody got the same opportunity to learn from life, okay? How much you learn depends on how much attention you pay to what life is teaching you, because life is always teaching us, okay? We got chemistry lessons. Okay. Chemistry. Something as simple as when you're mixing a drink, how much sugar do you put in? That's chemistry. That's also nutrition. Okay. Because if you overdo, you're gonna get sick. Go to the doctor, and doctor gonna tell you cut down on the sugar. But a lot of us don't pay attention to the lessons. So a lot of us, we just do whatever we want, and then our body and our life, because they are social lessons as well. That's why I say life is a school. Okay. But a lot of the times we're not paying attention. But whosoever pay the most attention to what life is teaching you, you ascend. That's how you get your degrees. Okay, that's how you become a master. When you learn the lessons and you apply the lessons that you've learned, that's how you become a master. You master life. Okay, you master yourself. You can master your environment to some extent. Okay, and where you fall, where you drop the ball, the universe will pick it up. God will help you, because that's where the karma come in. It's like God know how hard you've been working to try and keep the balance in your life. So just like God gives out bad karma when we're doing wrong, God gives out good karma when we're doing good. Okay? So we're learning all that from this little scripture here. Because it's like, it's not telling you everything, but when you look behind the scenes, it's like, how did that get like that? You know what I'm saying? So imagine what type of child Jesus was. Imagine what type of mother and what his father, what Mary and Joseph and whoever else they had around them, what type of people they were, how their minds work, how they ministered to their environment. That's how Jesus got that good head start. You understand? So that's why he knew so much, because they obviously taught him how to connect spiritually. Okay? So once we form that connection with the divine ourselves, Malika, if you can make just a little bit less noise, that would help me. You can pack away the noiseless ones. Okay. Yeah. So once we wait, lost my train of thought a little bit. I was saying
They taught him well, his parents. They gave him a good start.
oh yes. So once we get a good start established when it comes to our relationship with God, we can then take it ourselves from there, interacting with God on our own. That's why it's good to, they say, train a child in the way that he or she should go, and they shall never depart. Because even if they depart, there's a part of them that always know better. Malika, be nice. That no, not today.
I know. I think I'm done. It's just the
Yeah,
stuff is
yeah. I'll do the rest later. Oh, great. Yeah. So sorry. So yeah, once we get that head start in life with the proper parents and the proper family circle or friend circle, then we're good to go. We can figure the rest out. God is gonna show us the rest, but we need to start somewhere. So Jesus had a great start when it comes to his spiritual walk and life with God. Okay. Malika, put in your headphones too. I don't want no disturbance there, because this shit is deep. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. It was getting on my last nerve. I'm hearing pling pling.
usually I'm quiet.
You see, when I'm reading the cards, it's like it don't really bother me that much. I don't know how come, but with this Bible thing, yeah, nah, I need to get this right.
Don't interrupt God.
Is the cards is reading for God too. It's just a different, because to
That's
me,
why I said you don't interrupt God.
Ah.
God time.
reading the cards is also God time. This is why I'm explaining to you. But
Anyway, I'm gonna shut up.
yeah.
I'm not here.
All right. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. All right. So let's see. Okay, so verse 20. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that himself does. So he's saying, God loves me and God has shown me all things that I do. I learned from God. Okay? Because if you've ever interacted with life, right, it's like somebody could tell you something and it don't register until it's supposed to. And you look back like, oh, is that what they were saying? Yeah. So until God's ready to open our eyes or something like that, our eyes won't open. Okay? So God show him all things. This is him telling the Jews, God has taught me everything that I know. And I'm doing what God taught me. Let's continue, verse 20. And he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. And he will show him. Who is he talking about? He who is God, yes, will show him. Who is him? For the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that himself does. Okay. Okay. And he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. Okay, so he was speaking about himself. What is that, in third person singular or something like that, I think. So he's basically, so it's like me saying something about myself, and I'm saying it like, I'm calling my name. Like I'm calling my name instead of saying me or I call my name. Or I speak of myself as she, but I'm speaking about me. So that's what happened there. So Jesus was like, look, everything that I know and everything that you see me doing, I learned it from God. And by the way, you ain't even seen nothing yet. God's gonna show me greater works than these. You know, see nothing yet. So he was bringing people back from the dead, healing the blind. Okay, and he said, you ain't seen nothing yet. You bring somebody back from the dead and that's nothing. So what else is there for us to see? This is why we need to stay alive, because the party not even start yet. I'm telling you, our tomorrows are gonna be fantastic. Stay alive. What are your plans for 2044? It don't matter what age you are. Stop it. Live your life and live it well, and you will keep it. Okay. We got plans for 2044. Okay. So yeah, so Jesus is saying to the Jews, look, y'all ain't even seen nothing yet. Verse 21. For as the Father raises up the dead and quickens them, even so the Son quickens whom he will. So Jesus was like, listen, God can raise people from the dead and so can I. My Father taught me. What's your beef? Feel like jealousy to me now. I think the Jews were jealous. Okay, verse 22. For the Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment unto the Son. Interesting. Verse 23. That all men should honor the Son. Okay, even as they honor the Father. Okay, I get it. He who honors not the Son honors not the Father, which has sent him. Right. So basically, Jesus is saying, look, I am my Father's son, and I'm not one of these part-time Christians. Okay, I'm not one of these part-time Rastas. I'm not one of these part-time Muslims. Okay, I don't live my life, my walk with God, to appease your understanding or to get your approval. My walk with God is personal, and I am dedicated to the Most High God, and I answer to none but the divine. I'm sorry to tell you. I don't want to hurt your feelings. but you got yourself way up here where God is supposed to be. So I need to bring you down back to reality, put you in your place. You are not God. Yeah, he who honors not the Son honors not the Father which has sent him. Because, like I said, God manifested Jesus in the physical realm to be a representation of the highest of the highs. So if there was a competition to see which human is the most well behaved, which human is the most blameless in God's sight, Jesus would win, because God is Jesus and Jesus is God. So when I'm saying all this, you have to actually remember too that life itself is mystical. Life is mystical because there's a lot that we don't understand when it comes to how knowledge comes in and at what pace. Because what most of us would do at this point is measure Jesus's intellectual progress based on our own capability. And that is where we keep messing up with Jesus and with other people. A lot of the times when we're looking at people or when we're trying to assess someone, we use only the knowledge that we have. Most of us aren't wide-minded enough to acknowledge the fact that there are some people that are on this level and there's some people that are on that level and there's some people that are just out of this world, and Jesus would be out of this world. So if you look at yourself and your progress, like how smart you are, how fast you can learn things, how much you know, how fast you progressed in life, just know that your best is nothing compared to what Jesus can do, because Jesus is God in the flesh. There's no comparison. So the question is, when Jesus was small, it's like, what did he know? How much did he know? At what point did he really receive his godhood, like consciously? You understand what I'm saying? So these are the behind the scenes that when we're reading the Bible, there's a whole heap of questions for us to really understand what is being said. Because these Jews are judging God based on some stupid stuff because he saved somebody on Sabbath day. See, if they had ever even put themselves in that man's position, then they would have taken on a different point of view. But how arrogant and how selfish and how pompous, how much of a jackass could you be that you can't even put yourself, see yourself as ill on the Sabbath day and say, well, it is a good thing that you were healed, period, no matter what day it is. Because if it was them that was sick, oh, I'm sure they would be happy for the help, even on the Sabbath day. You think that they would send the doctor away and say, don't come today, doctor. It's the Sabbath day. You think they would do that? I don't think so. So, let's see. Verse 24. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he who hears my word and believes on him who sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation. Let's read that again. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he who hears my word and believes on him who sent me has everlasting life and shall not come into condemnation. Because let's look at the Jews. I may not read all the way up to verse 43 in this session. I don't know. I'm just going with the flow. But let's look at the Jews when it comes to this statement here. Okay? It says, he who hears my word and believes on him who sent me, because Jesus already said that I'm doing what God told me to do, right? Shall have everlasting life and shall not come into condemnation. So the fact that the Jews were fighting against what Jesus was doing for the reasons that they were fighting against him, it shows that they're not going to have everlasting life. They're definitely going to, well, basically they're condemning themselves with their choices. So God don't even need to condemn us. We condemn ourselves with our bad choices, with our negative thinking, with our selfishness, with our lies, our denial. The law is already set, you know. So when you see certain people going through certain things, just know it's because of the choices that they made. It's nothing else. The reason why I'm going through what I'm going through is because of the choices that I made. And the reason why God is holding me up is because I don't deserve what they're doing to me. So by me choosing this path, when I say this path, I mean this humanitarian path, to stand against the system, the ills of the system. Anyway, I'm not against the whole system, just the fucked up parts. But this choice I made to stand up against the messed up parts of the system, that's what brought these challenges upon me. But God knows that I don't deserve to be fought against because the system is sick in the first place. So that's why God keep blessing me and upholding me and saving me and protecting me and multiplying my abundance. That's why the enemies cannot cast me down. They cannot condemn me because the law doesn't go like that. God's law don't go like that. I am found blameless in God's sight. Therefore, just like Jesus, if you manage to put him on a cross and kill him, God will raise him up again. God did the same for me because I was not wrong in God's sight. And anybody else who is found not wrong in God's sight will be granted the same, because it said, he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. The people who killed me and saw me come back to life, do you think they were marveled? When they so-called killed Jesus, that Jesus on a different level to me. You could kill me, you can't kill Jesus. You could do something to Jesus, but it's not kill him. Jesus probably had an outer body experience because he had to visit some other realms or something. But with me, you could kill me, but God could bring me back to life. But with Jesus, Jesus is God. I can't. That part of the scripture never sit well with me. You cannot kill God, because I've always seen Jesus as God in the flesh. You can't kill God. You could persecute God. God allowed them to persecute him just so that they could see how awful they are. Because listen to me talking back this story now. The same people or the descendants of the people who did this to Jesus, how do you think they really feel right now? Listening to me saying these words, they thought the case was finished. They thought that when they crucified Jesus that it was finished. This shit ain't finished. Now you need to look at yourselves. Now you need to look at the handiwork of your grandfather, your great grandfather, your great grandmother, and your auntie. Y'all want to be so proud to say that you're the ancestors or the descendants, sorry, you're the descendants of this person back in the day, and the descendant. Yeah, what were your people responsible for when it comes to Jesus? We are the descendants of the people who persecuted and crucified Jesus for doing the right thing. We are there today because I know they're here today. Now, having said that, whose descendant am I? Because bloodlines go way back. Just imagine from these times, our bloodline, all of us, we have people back in these times. The Bible may not mention every name, but these are our ancestors' stories in this book. We are their descendants. Real talk. It's not just a storybook. Our ancestors left us information that they learned about interacting with the planet, interacting with each other, interacting with God, interacting with knowledge and nature and all these things. That's what's in this book. But we don't open the book, so we don't know all what in this book. And plus, they took out so many of the books from the Bible. So there's a lot that is going to be hard to get our hands on, the knowledge. Our ancestors left us instructions. That's what this book is. It's not no religious anything. It's a spiritual book. It's a history book. That's what the Bible is. It's like a newspaper report, or you can see it like a court documents. That's what the Bible is. That's how we're supposed to see it. Not as something that is holier than thou. Please, we need to stop seeing it like that, because we be missing so much. Because we're trying to be holy. Now we need to be wise. When we be wise, holy comes naturally. We need to be true and we need to be wise. Then holy will come in naturally. And holy is spelled W-H-O-L-L-Y, not H-O-L-Y. H-O-L-Y suggests this piece is missing. The more wise we become is the more whole we become. W-H-O-L-E. Do you see what they did with the English language? The reason why they call this the Holy Bible, H-O-L-Y, is probably because of all the books that are missing. For real. So they're letting us know, yo, there's a lot that's missing from this book. When I read the prophet Ezekiel's scripture the other day, and I heard the book telling me about how God rolled up on Ezekiel and what God's entourage was like. God's entourage it's talking about what we would call aliens. There were 4 of them, and they had 4 faces. One man. Each of them had the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of a freaking eagle at the back. We would call that alien. We would be scared if we saw that, but it's God's entourage. It's in this book, and we're missing it because we're not opening the book. And when we do go to church and go to Bible study, they don't read certain scriptures. They go over and over and over and over and over the same set of scripture. We need to open the book for ourselves as a storybook. Our ancestor left us messages that we need to read. Okay? Let's continue. Let's see what else we missing. I love this. Wait, let me see. So, um, uh, so back from verse 24, verily, verily, I say unto you, he who hears my word and believes on him who sent me has everlasting life and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Is passed from death unto life. So it's like having new life. It's like, because the lack of knowledge is kind of like a type of death. And to be honest with you, when they talk about this being born again, this being baptized, that's a real thing, but it doesn't work the way that they taught us. It's not dipping in somebody. You cannot dip somebody in water and it changes their life. It's an actual mindset. You have to take on a mindset. That's how you become born again. It's the wisdom. It's you changing from the wrong to learning the right and living the right. Okay. And also, according to my experience, God has to open your eyes. Well, with me, God opened my eyes. I remember the day that switch got flipped on for me. I was living at 7 Victor Road. It was Malika's daddy, Malachi, aka Dakai, aka real name George Allen Jr., aka Ezra. It was him that came with the message that flipped on a switch for me. It's like from that moment, I started to see life and everything different. I don't remember what he said to me, but I responded to him. So you mean to tell me that the way that things are, they don't have to be like that? That's what I said to him. Because up until then, I was not aware of my power to basically cultivate the kind of life and lifestyle that I wanted. Okay, on a simple level, here's what happened. I got pregnant at 19, right? So I had Malika at age 20. So up until that time, I was still in a kind of teenager kind of mindset. You know them ones where you don't really keep your room clean and you got dishes in your room from God knows when and clothes thrown all over the place. And yeah, that's how I used to live. And it was just the norm for me. So then when he said whatever he said to me, I never lived like that again. I don't know if you could call that daft. But like I said as well, I grew up in a family where their intentions for me were not to see me grow. They did not intend for me to become a respectable young woman. They did not intend for me to be alive all this time. So nobody was teaching me anything that is worth knowing. Go to school, they told me, but they didn't make it clear that going to school means you come out because you're going to be taking care of yourself one day. You have to provide for yourself financially one day. So you're going to have to be able to get a job and make money. Nobody ever gave me any speeches like that. They wanted me as dumb as rocks. And this is me at 20. Finished college, left England, went to Montserrat to live on my own because I always loved Montserrat. I never wanted to be in England. God just keep bringing me back here. don't know that you have to have a job and like you have to have money to buy food and provide for you. So at that time, Craig used to look after me just a little bit. But eventually somebody told me that I can go to what's that place name? The restaurant just down below Craig Barber Shop. Uh, I don't remember. Tina's restaurant. That's the one. Yeah, and I got my first job there. And then I fell pregnant after that. But in the meantime, like Craig was making like license plates and stuff. So even though I didn't know the value of going to school and all these things, I had skills. So even though I saw him doing it for the first time, I could mimic what he did. And I did that. And he used to pay me a little bit of money out of what he made from doing the license plates and whatnot at that time. But that's how daft I was. So I'm going back now to tell you about the fact that there's a light switch that goes on. That's how you know you've been born again. It's like now you're online. It's like trying to get an internet connection and you ain't got none. And then finally everything's connected. Like you have the power to move things and create the type of life that you believe should be. Because it's not that I wanted to live in filth, but I didn't know any better. I was just being me. But then after he said what he said, I realized, God damn, there's a lot of things that I would like, since things don't have to be exactly how they are, and I have the power to make some changes, I see a lot of things that I would like to change. And I started burning fire upon myself, upon the woman that them call me Muma. Me and Venerin used to kick up because my fire was wild. I went through the awakening, but I wanted to change everything. I just wanted to clean up everything. I just wanted to fix everything. Like, what kind of life is this? We need this. That's how I was. And there was, I wouldn't say there was no compassion. There was compassion in me, but I had to learn to kind of live and let live. Although I've had my awakening and I am ready to get all these things right, it doesn't mean that everybody else is ready to clean up their act as well. So I had to, I was like an automatic machine gun that kind of malfunction. I was just shooting everywhere, shooting everybody. Yeah, that's what happened when I got my awakening, until I learned to live and let live. It's like, okay, because I used to be like in a tug of war with people, because it's like I want them to live well too, you know what I'm saying? Because it's my family. And if I see parts of them where they could make better, then I'll tell them about it. But it, they weren't ready. Well, they were different to me. I had to learn that through experience, and I just stopped kind of trying to get them to better their lives, and I just worked on myself instead. And here we are today. And there they are today. Anywho, yeah. So it's about an awakening. It's like there's a time when you're awakening. So it's like a lot of things that go into getting your godhood, your proper godhood. But yeah, that day was different. I could still feel it. It's like a literal switch, like a light went on inside my head. And my life was never the same again. And Malachi is the one who brought me that message. Anywho, where did we stop? I don't even remember. Oh yes, we were talking about but is passed from death unto life. So yeah, you don't have to die to live life more abundantly. You just have to change your ways and follow God's law, not necessarily the laws of the land. You need to prioritize God's law over the laws of the land at every expense, like Jesus did, even unto being crucified. You must choose God's law. That's how serious being a Christian or a real Rasta, a real Muslim, a real Buddhist is. If you're not willing to suffer death for the Creator, you're not ready. You're not official. If you're not ready to suffer death for the Most High God, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like Daniel thrown in the lion's den, you're not ready. And you see, the same Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego story is just like Jesus with the crucifixion, because they were trying to crucify these men for loving and serving and honoring God. And their contract that they had with the divine, their covenant that they have with the divine, and the kings of the land wanted them to dishonor God and the covenant that they have with their God and serve them, the kings of the land, instead, the politicians. It's the same thing that they basically they threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. That's basically just like putting Jesus up on the cross. It's the same thing. And throwing Daniel in the lion's den is the same thing like when they nailed Jesus to the cross and tried to take his life. But the thing is with these ones, they didn't die. God showed up and showed all the way out on their behalf for the level of faith that they exhibited, the level of love, loyalty, and dedication that they exhibited for the Most High God. I am one of them. That's why God keep favoring me like this. That's why Babylon can't conquer me. And I could come out here and I could sing it loud and proud and rude. Because it's true. And it's about time that they get put in their place. So if everybody else won't put them in their place, I will. Especially when it comes to me, because I'm not doing anything wrong. So you need to back the fuck up. You see me? Jews who say you are Jews but are not. You're of the synagogue of Satan. You know, I have no jurisdiction around here. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness therein. Yeah. So let's see what comes next. So verse 25, I'm definitely not going to do all the way up to 43 today. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they who hear shall live. So when they say the dead, Jesus wasn't talking about those who are physically dead. Like I describe death as the separation of the soul from the physical body. That's my definition of death. That's all it is, because the soul always lives. But the body itself, it dies. So death, according to my definition, my understanding, the teachings that I've gotten, is the separation of the soul from the physical body. Okay? So when Jesus is talking about when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, it's not those who are physically dead, but those who are spiritually dead, those who are uh, psychologically dead, philosophically dead, those who lack understanding, those who lack wisdom and knowledge. Those are what Jesus is calling dead. That's why Jesus said, "You will hear my voice and you shall live." Because it's like I said, with my awakening, I've been hearing things and living for God all my life. But that day, when Malachi said what he said, that's a different me that came online. That was definitely another me came online. Okay, I was not who I used to be ever, ever, ever again. I was born again in the spirit and in the mind. I became a new person through the renewing of my mind. I started shifting my personality, getting rid of what doesn't serve me well and adapting that which serves me well. And what serves me well, in my opinion, is that which pleases God. That's my definition of what serves me well. Because if I go with God's law, I ain't got no problems. So first I need to learn God's law and respect God's law. Because God's law is not there just because God want to control us. God made these rules because God want to protect us. Because God know what this is. We still trying to figure out what this is. So until we learn what exactly this is, there are certain guidelines that God put, like thou shalt not tell lies, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet another person's husband or wife or house or car or job. Okay? What are the other ones? All the 10 commandments. Okay? They are guidelines. Those of you who are professional liars, you know better than anyone else why God put the rule, thou shalt not tell lies. Those of you who kill without reason, you can teach us a thing or two about why God said thou shalt not kill. Because clearly there is a time to kill. But reason, intention, there's a time to lie as well. There's a time to kill, there's a time to lie. There is even a time to be covetous. There is a time to be prideful. But once you use all these energies for the right reason, you're breaking no laws. Reason. See? Wisdom. Thy wisdom come, thy will be done. I got so much to teach ya. Anywho, let's see. Next. 26. For as the Father has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself. That's deep. But I need some more information so I can dissect. Verse 27. And has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Oh, I'm completely lost with that part. Let me go back from 25 then. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they who hear shall live. For as the Father has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself. And has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. So I don't really get what that is saying. Most High, if you want to clarify this for me, that would be lovely. If you're not ready yet, it's fine. But for as the Father has life in himself, okay, the Father, that's God, has life in himself. Okay, if I was to say Chanel has life in herself, what does that mean? I don't know. Okay, let's say Chanel, I have life in myself. What is myself referring to? I have life. Okay, I have life. Life, we were talking about uh, the transforming of the mind from being ignorant of God's laws, God's requirements, because that is life. Life is being in the know of God's requirements and laws and stuff. Okay, so that is life. So the statement says, for as the Father has life in himself. Okay, so the self would be talking about the physical body. So it's having the wisdom. So that's spirit and body. The connection and collaboration of spirit and body. Wisdom and action. Okay. So for as the Father has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself. So that's like wisdom and the physical, the spiritual and the physical working together. Because everything that is spiritual, if you're a man or woman of God, your commands, your knowledge, it come from God. Thy wisdom come. And then thy will be done. So that's the spirit and the body being used to carry out whatever God advised us or instructed us to do. Okay? Okay. So for as the Father, thank you, Mosai. For as the Father has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also. So because wisdom came from the divine, anything, once you're listening to the divine and not somebody who is tapping into you telepathically trying to fool you, and not using your own judgment, once you know that your whatever you heard come from the divine, you're good to go. As ridiculous as it sounds, even without any physical evidence to support what God told you, just know that what God told you is the truth. Once you're sure that God told you. Okay? That's what that's saying. So, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. The Son of Man. That has always baffled me. That phrase, the Son of Man. Because, okay, Jesus is the Son of God. but also he's a son. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so what I'm hearing is being the son of man speaks about his human experience. Just like I said, God manifested Jesus to have a mind like God and a body like us, so that we can see that you can put that mindset and this body together and do wondrous things. Hence the term Christian, Christ like. What would Jesus do? What would Emmanuel do? Okay? Emmanuel is the original name for Jesus, by the way. Those of you who are confused when I say Emmanuel. It was prophesied that they should call him Emmanuel, and then all of a sudden the name Jesus just pops up out of nowhere. And most people, they know him as Jesus and don't know that the angel said that the virgin is going to have a son and she should call him Emmanuel. So they're one and the same. Okay. Whew. Let's dig some more. Okay, so yes, so God has given him authority to execute judgment also because he's the Son of Man. So basically, because Jesus has experienced life as we have experienced life, Jesus can relate to our pains. That means Jesus must have had a crazy life. Because only when you've been through something, even if it's in his dreams, because God probably gave him the downloads in his dreams, because we don't go through everything in the physical. We learn through other people's experiences. And in some cases, we learn through our dreams. But that's me measuring Jesus's experience by my little limited knowledge again. But that's all I got for right now. So we're going to use that. Right? So it says, because he's the Son of Man. So Jesus was given authority to judge men because he was having, well, when I say man, I mean humankind, because he was having a human experience also. So it's like he, knowing what it felt like to go through things that humans go through, he would then, in his Christ-like nature, choose to finalize his judgments based on his ability to relate. So using compassion, being able to see the story from both sides, acknowledging the fact that we are very limited in our thinking as well. So he understood human psychology and he understand human relations very well. So therefore he was qualified to pass judgment on his fellow men and women. Okay? God has given him authority to execute judgment also because he is the Son of Man. He's flesh too. So he understands. So it's like he's not here to coddle people, but he's here to show people you can be stronger. You can do better. Okay? Don't accept what the flesh is telling you and don't accept what your lowly thinking is telling you. So he was here basically to help upgrade our thinking and upgrade our actions, upgrade our knowledge, upgrade our understanding of God and God's law. Okay? He was here to be an example and to enforce God's law so that we can strive for higher. Okay? Higher, respectable character. All right. Verse 28. It says, marvel not at this, For the hour is coming in which all who are in the graves shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they who have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they who have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. Listen to that, resurrection of damnation. Everybody get resurrection of life. Resurrection of damnation. It makes perfect sense because, like I said, the story isn't over. The people, the descendants of those who crucified Jesus, thought that the story was over. In this day, this is basically their resurrection of damnation. They thought the case was over. How many years has it been since this happened to Jesus? Nobody ever talks about the ancestors of those who did this to Jesus. We read the story and we go over it like all the bloodlines are just finished. No, we are the descendants of everybody in the Bible. We, you and me, every last one of us. Some of us are the descendants of Mary, Jesus' mother. Some of us are cousins and uncles and aunties and great grand nieces and whatnot of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and everybody else who ever had children in the Bible. We are their bloodline. Puts a different spin on real life today, doesn't it? It's like, who are you? Who am I? Who am I related to from the Bible? Who do I share a bloodline with? I am of the lineage of whom? You are of the lineage of whom? These were real people. This really happened. Wow. Okay. So yeah, so it said, marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in which all who are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they who have done good unto the resurrection of life. So those of us who are the descendants of, let's say, Saint Peter, who else was supportive of God? Mary, Joseph, Apostle John. Those of us who supported and heard the messages that Jesus came to share with us straight from the divine, we are yet to be given our blessing, which they call a resurrection of life. So just as in this day and age, if somebody know that they are a descendant of one of the people who persecuted Jesus, imagine how terrible they feel right now. If their heart isn't like cold, if they've had their awakening, maybe that's what you mean by quickening. For the Father raises up the dead and quickens them. I think that's what it is. It's a quickening. That's what they're calling it. I call it an awakening, but that's what I mean by quicken them. So yeah, so imagine if some of the descendants of those who persecuted Jesus were in their conscious mind today. The conscious mind where they're connected to empathy and seeing both sides of the story and being in a compassionate energy, being Christ-like, the good side of God. They would feel like crap for what their people did. That's the resurrection of damnation. So the story continues, bruv, and this story will never end because it happened. It's history. It happened already. So even their generations further into the future, when we tell this story, their generations, all the children that aren't even born yet, they're going to be feeling it too. They're going to feel embarrassed for what their ancestors did too. They're going to feel damned. Because it's like, what kind of cursed behavior is that? What kind of wretchedness is that? That don't even make no sense. How stupid are you? They'll be asking the same questions I'm asking. Like, how stupid were these people? These were like my great granddad was stupid. That's what they're gonna say. So their whole lineage, because of what they did, they cursed their whole lineage. And me personally, if I wanted to know who in the Bible, I could write out like a deck with all the names of the people in the Bible and shuffle and let God show me whose bloodline I fall into, like the descendant. Whose descendant am I? I could do it for other people too. Whose descendant are you? And the time is coming when God want to make everything clear. These cases are not finished. So if y'all think that y'all gonna push off the Bible like it's just a bunch of useless stories, no, they're court cases. They are teachings. Okay? They're news articles. It's history. It's a history book. And there's a lot of court cases in there that ain't finished yet. So they persecuted Jesus and crucified him however long ago. And all today, the people who did that shit are going to be feeling it. Maybe that's why they tried to pass off the Bible like it's not a real thing. You remember when they used to make it illegal to own a Bible? They so desperately want to hide the truth. And then King James decided, oh, I'll print it. So be careful. What did they change? How come they didn't want us to have a Bible? They were willing to kill us for owning a Bible. And then all of a sudden, they want everybody to have a Bible. You have to be careful. This book is a lot more powerful and credible. The stories that belong in this book are a lot more powerful, credible, and relevant than we've been taught to recognize. The case is not over. Queen Omega guided me to this scripture, bruv. Empress Menen, she guided me to this scripture, to all my scriptures, really. That's like me and her thing, the Bible. She loved the Bible. She always influenced me. The first time that I saw the vision, she did this. Hang on. I was sitting on the step by the throne because I envisioned them on a throne. And she took it, and it was an iron thing. She put it on my head like this. But it didn't hurt, but it was metal. And then it transformed into this book. That's what I saw in my mind's eye. Because in my mind's eye, I have this place that I always go and visit my God, right? Because y'all know I'm a Rasta. So my God is 4 parts plus me, make the 5-point star, right? And they're on a throne. And when I went, I was just chilling on the step. Queen Omega, Empress Menen. She took the book. Well, she took an iron thing and she put it on my head like this, but it didn't hurt at all. And then it transformed into this book, and I was like, aha. She was like, basically, she's saying, read it. So, and I've been everything that I've opened the book and read so far, I've been so intrigued, like, because listening to it's all right to listen to it when the pastors do it, but Bible study is so much more interesting because you really get to deep dive. You get to deep dive because depend on who's doing it. Because if somebody else read the same scripture, they'll be hitting on points that I missed, and I'll be like, wow. So it's good for each of us to like take up the book and just read, you know, read. Ask God to guide you. What we reading today? Because I can't just take up the book and read it from front to back, to be honest with you. I find it very boring. But I ask for guidance, and I've never been let down. Excuse me. So, yeah. Let me see. What else? Okay. So, the resurrection of life and the resurrection of damnation. Right. So now, verse 30. We're almost there. I want to read the whole thing. I'm sorry if you think it's too long. I find it very interesting. You should probably start to listen like a podcast instead of watching me. Make sure you find something to do while you're listening. All right. So, verse 30, it says, I can of mine own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge. And my judgment is just. Because I seek not mine own will, but the will of the Father who has sent me. So there is no mistake in my judgment because it's not my knowledge. God told me. So he said, as I hear, I judge. Hear what? People's claims? No. So it's like if he's a judge, shit, it's like I hear what you say and I hear what you say, but I hear what the Father tell me in here. And the Father make me know, say, you're telling lie and you're telling lie too. As a matter of fact, both of you are telling lies. So here's what we gonna do. And his judgment is just. Whatever he decides is just because God tell him what else to do. Wisdom come, thy wisdom come, thy will be done. That's how you live for God. It don't mean that God is telling you what to do all day, every day, because you get to make some of your own choices, but in important matters, it is better not to trust your own judgment or walk your own path. You need that divine interception. Okay? That's how you win at life. That's how you learn. Okay? That's how you create a life that you love and are proud of. A life with no regrets. That's how you do it. When you're making very important decisions, you get professional advice. Let's call God that. Professional advice. Okay? This is too serious for me to just be all wishy-washy about, like when you're choosing your husband or your wife. Like when you're choosing to challenge the government. Like when you're choosing to go somewhere that you know you probably shouldn't. Just make sure. Once God says yes, proceed and trust the process. Whatever happened, trust it. God didn't make a mistake in telling you yes. No mistakes. Trust the process. It get hard, it get easy. Trust the process. You get lonely, you get angry. Trust the process. Emotions are good servants. It's just that they're poor masters. That takes us back to our self-mastery conversation. Great servants, emotions. They're very poor masters. Don't let them run your life. Don't let pride, anger, confusion, fear, happiness, the positive ones too. Don't let them run your life. Don't let them run your life. The negative emotions or the positive ones. Reasoning. Thy wisdom come. Then thy will be done. Okay? That's why you don't need to be understood by everybody. Everybody don't need to understand your reasoning or your choices. Once you're listening to God, they don't need to understand, because if you explain it to them, they probably wouldn't understand anyway. You don't need their validation. No disrespect to them, but you don't need their validation. You already got your validation from the divine. The most important person, the VIP, the infinite VIP person already gave you the go ahead. So go ahead. And then make your apologies to those who object. Be respectful to them, but keep doing what the infinite VIP told you to do anyway. Yeah. Let's see. Where did we stop? All right. So, verse 30. If I be a witness of myself, my witness is not true. Verse 32. There is another who bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. Verse 33. You sent unto John, and he bear witness unto the truth. Verse 34. But I receive not testimony from man, but these things I say, that you might be saved. So Jesus is saying to the Jews, if I be a witness of myself, my witness is not true. What does he mean by that? Then verse 32, it says, there is another who bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. So this is John the Baptist. Okay, 33, it says, you sent unto John, and he bear witness unto the truth. 34, but I receive not testimony from man, but these things I say, that you might be saved. I don't get why Jesus is saying, if I be a witness of myself, my witness is not true. Because Jesus wouldn't lie about himself, so why would he say that? If I be a witness of myself, my witness is not true. Okay, so let's put myself in the position. Because that's what I'm saying. If I was to tell somebody about myself, I'm going to tell them the truth. So why would Jesus, why is that in there? Or is that one of the traps? Is that one of the traps that they put in there after they said, I will kill you for reading the Bible, and then they said, okay, here you go, you can read the Bible now. I don't know. Let's move on. I ain't gonna bother with that. But you were saying But there's another man who bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. You sent unto John, and he bear witness unto the truth. But I receive not testimony from man. But these things I say, that you might be saved. Let's read on. 35. He was a burning and shining light, and you were a willing, and sorry, he was a burning and shining light, and you were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. 36. But I have greater witness than that of John. For the works which the Father has given me to finish, the same works that I do, bear witness of me that the Father has sent me. Okay, so let's see if I can make some sense of this. If I bear witness of myself, okay. So I'm getting what he mean by if I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true, is basically if Jesus was to say, I did that, you know that shit ain't true. He ain't got no power like that. That's why it says down here, and the Father himself, which has sent me, has wait, the one before. The same works that I do bear witness of me that the Father has sent me. It's like I couldn't do all things if God didn't empower me, if God didn't inform me, and if God didn't grant me the power to do these things. That's why I be telling y'all, God said I could take 2% of the glory for the things that I do, but I know it's not my power that do these things. It's not my wisdom. So it's not my glory. I find it very gracious of God to say, yeah, you can gloat like 2% of, you can take 2% of the glory. Because God could have told me 1, but God was quite generous to give me 2%. I feel special. So basically, this is what Jesus is saying, because like I was saying, even though Jesus is God in the flesh, Jesus is also doubling as a man, Son of Man and Son of God at the same time. Jesus is Son of God and Son of Man at the same time. So he recognizes the God in him, but he also recognizes the mere man, like us, the mere mortal. And it's like, I couldn't do these great incredible things without God. That's what Jesus is saying. And this is why God sent Jesus, so we too know that it is the same for us. It is also true for us. So even Jesus, with all his glory and all his power and all his authority, he is that, but he is also what we are, lowly. He's lowly. He's high. He's the highest of the highest, and he's experienced the lowest of the lows at the same time. And he has learned how to compartmentalize both of his personas. That's why we talk about the quickening. See? So the lowly part of him would be the human being part of him, like us, before his quickening. But after he had that quickening, maybe his quickening happened when he had the baptism. Okay, I'm going too far. Because you know how they like to tell us, like, you get baptized and that's how you change your life. That shit don't work like that. You get baptized and you're still the same person because you did not have a renewal of your mind. You're supposed to have a renewal of the mind first before you go dip in the water, if you want to add the dipping in the water as part of your ceremony, your transformation ceremony, your covenant, like a physical manifestation of your covenant with God. That's what that dipping in the water is all about. But it starts in the mind. You have to become a new person, and then you tell the pastor, yeah, I'm ready. You can dip me in the water now, because it's like it's probably symbolizing a cleansing. Okay, so the church would know what the spiritual meaning is, but dipping yourself in the water doesn't change you and it doesn't save you either. You have to want to change, and God, so both of you and God have to be on the same time for you to get that quickening. But outside of the quickening, we have an obligation to still do what is right. It's just that when we get this quickening, that's some next level something that I can't explain. Because before I had my quickening, I was just a good person. And after I had the quickening, it's like I had more control, more power. I was more aware of what is going on and what I want to go on, what should go on. So it's like you kind of, before you're quickening, you're kind of like on autopilot, just being yourself. But after the quickening, it's like you become co-pilot. You're not on autopilot because God is always the pilot, right? And those of us who seek God anyway. Oh, it's too much. But I'm only gonna address the story from people like my point of view so that we can understand ourselves and our journey and what's happening within us, okay, according to what I've been shown here in the scripture. I can't talk about the evil people and who's their pilot and all that thing. We're not that's not what we're about right now, right? So I could talk about what I experienced like this because I lived it and I'm still living it. Okay. So uh so yeah, so before the quickening, we like operate on autopilot. Then when the quickening happens, it's like we become co-pilot. We do things more deliberately. We understand more. We make it our business to understand and to know more. We pay more attention. Okay? Yeah, so it's like we go up a grade. So maybe there's more of these quickenings to come. I don't know. I only had one so far. Okay. So, and then, okay, so there's the autopilot, co-pilot, and then God is always the pilot. Okay? Okay. So, but I have greater, let me see. Okay. Okay, so he was talking about John and how the Jews were willing to, for a season, to rejoice in John's light. John's light would be John's wisdom, I guess, John's ministry, what John came and brought to the earth. They were happy for it, right? Verse 36, Jesus says, but I have greater witness than that of John, for the works which the Father has given me to finish, the same works that I do, be a witness of me, that the Father has sent me. Because I couldn't do this without God. That's what he's saying, basically. Verse 37, and the Father himself, which has sent me, has borne witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. Verse 38, and you have not his word abiding in you. For whom he has sent, him you believe not. And he's very right. Jesus is basically saying, yo, y'all are clueless. You all are clueless because you're clueless because you choose not to believe. You clearly, there's no connection between how you think, who you are, and who God truly is. It's like you don't know God at all. Because if you knew God at all, if you knew godliness at all, you wouldn't have a problem with me healing somebody on the Sabbath, number one. And number two, you would know that we are all sons and daughters of the Father. God is our Father who art in heaven. And our Mother who art in heaven. you would know this. You wouldn't be offended by me telling you that God is my Father. What kind of mindset do you have for you to see me as talking strange things by me saying that God is my Father? Isn't God your Father? This is basically what Jesus was saying. Jesus was saying, you don't get it at all. I see you don't get it at all. Like I said, stupid people with power. How unfortunate for we the people. We almost there, y'all. Okay. So, yeah. For whom he has sent, him you believe not. If y'all had a clue, y'all would know I'm doing the right thing. But because y'all are so far from God and what God wants, so you're so far from God reasoning, you're so far from God's laws, you don't have a clue how to judge me because you are using your own eyes and your own thoughts and your own ego to see me and interact with me. You're seeing me through your own warped psychology. And you think you're so right. You know, it's one thing to be a fool, but it's another thing to not know that you're a fool. That's even worse. So it's like we could be foolish, but if you know you're foolish, and there's hope for you. But if you don't even know you're foolish, you're further down. You're in the grades below. You know, you're kind of wearing the dunce hat. I was about to say something. Is that, the dunce hat shaped like that? I ain't gonna say it, but that's what dunce hats look like when I was going to school. So, nah, we're not gonna say it. Let's move on. Verse 39. Jesus says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. Hey, okay, let's unravel that. So this is the New Testament, and Jesus is saying, search the scriptures. What scriptures is he talking about? It must be the Old Testament. Okay. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And they are they which testify of me. So Jesus must have been telling them to search. Oh, that just opened a whole bunch of other revelations. So if Jesus, because this is the New Testament, Jesus has been born and he's now exhibiting God in him among men, among humankind, right? So if he in this time is telling them search the scriptures, then that means man was here before. That means Emmanuel, aka Jesus, was here in the past. So it was already written of him. Whatever they have and they were reading and glorifying as scripture, Jesus was like, yo, you were reading about me. I'm here again. He didn't say that part, but basically it's like a reincarnation. So that means when Jesus came as Jesus is not the first time that happened. Because if the scriptures already wrote about him, then Jesus manifested before. And if that is true, then Jesus could be manifested now to be that living example to show humans you can be better. You can be your highest character. You can be a man or woman of virtue. You can be a man or a woman who God finds favor in, to the point where if they take your life, God will give it back to you like whatever. So if the scriptures already spoke of Jesus, Jesus was here already in some other persona, some other character. So this time when they're interacting with this Jesus, this persona, it's like, this is me again. So whatever scriptures, I almost said the Hebrews, I don't know if the Jews and the Hebrews are the same, but whatever scriptures these Jews had that they were living by and upholding, Jesus wanted them to know, yo, that was speaking about me. This isn't new to me. Okay, hello. Yeah. Let's see what else. So Jesus says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. Verse 40. And you will not come to me that you might have life. But verse 41. I receive not honor from men. 42. But I know you, that you have not the love of God in you. 43. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Oh, Lord have mercy. We made it. Hang on, let's see. So, and it said, and you will not come to me that you might have life. Because he said it perfectly down here where he said, you have not the love of God in you. See, that's the difference. That's the difference in the thinking. That's what separates the men. Because at this time, Jesus is also a man, just like the Jews. So even though Jesus was in his man form, it's like, bro, I don't think like you. Why are you so cold? Why are you so empty? Why are you so senseless? Why are you so unempathetic? Why is your compassion meter so low? Why are you so selfish? Why are you so heartless? Why are you so self-righteous? Rules for me. Certain rules for me and certain rules for thee. Because like I said, if they were ill on the Sabbath day, would they have turned the doctor away? Or would they allow the doctor to come and do their work on the Sabbath day? How stupid are you for you to not be able to see that? How selfish are you for you to not be able to think from that perspective? That is vile. And that's why the world is how it is today. Because there are people today running things who think like this. They're clueless. They are so far from reality, so far from sensibility, so far in their connection with another. That's why these people can't even have good relationships with their children. You see all these rich people? Their children, most of them, their children don't love them. Their children don't love them because their children know who they truly are. They know them personally. It's not a good look. They are embarrassed of them, and that's why they turn to rebelliousness and drugs and all these things, because it's like, I have to live in this house. And it's like the perks are great, like the cars and living in a big house, and you got a swimming pool, and you know what I mean, you can take trips overseas. These are the perks, but the psychology that they have to live around, and some of these children be knowing better because God is so I want to say balance, that God will always give a child like me who think like me. I think there's at least one in each family. Somebody has to keep the balance. So even these rich people, sometimes you'll find them have a couple children and one of them is just not like the others. And they call that one, what do they call that one, class? Let's say it together. The black sheep. That's what they call these ones. That's what they call us. Because we think different. We think higher. Because the ones who are rebellious and the ones who are fucking... the ones who are wayward, they don't call them the black sheep. Most families don't call them the black sheep. They call the ones that are different to the majority the black sheep. So if you come from a family of corruption and you're the good one, you're the black sheep. But if you come from a family of good and you're the corrupt one, you're the black sheep. You're the black sheep. But usually it's the other way around. The families are very corrupted, and then you got this one person who they're not like the rest. They can't do all this evil stuff where they're like gossiping about each other and disrespecting each other and fighting against somebody else without cause, and they'd be the voice of reason in the room. And you'd be hated for that. Why? Because you're surrounded by people who do not respect righteousness. You are the Christ-like one in your circle. That's why you can see both sides of an argument. That's why you can judge things fairly, and they'll hate you for that. And you'll be like, but I can see it though, but it makes sense because that. So, you know, they hate you for that. They be wanting you to take sides. And that shit don't be making no sense to you whatsoever. They be wanting to lie and want you to lie too. And it's like, oh shit, I wasn't ready. They expect you to just be on it like that. You're not like that. You weren't created like that. And God didn't make a mistake in making you not like that. And God didn't make a mistake in putting you in that family. When God is ready to remove you, you will be removed. After God has finished the groundwork that God is trying to do through you, the psychological groundwork. Because they will always remember you for how you think. So when certain things happen in their life, you're going to pop up in their mind, even when you're not there. you've already left a lasting impression on them because they know you. Even though they don't like the fact that you're a good person, that you're a fair person, that you're a reasonable person, that you're a truthful person, they know you. They can't make themselves unknow you. So that's what we're here for. And my time has come to separate from the clan, the corrupted clan that I was put with. So now I'm out here on my own, looking better than I've ever looked in my life, feeling better than I've ever felt in my life, being more progressive than I ever have in my life, and it has nothing to do with money. Mind, body, and soul first. That's my cake. Everything else is icing and cherries and sprinkles on top. Okay? Mind, body, and soul first. First, we get it right with God. Then we can do the whole husband thing and the job thing and the whatever else thing. Whatever God don't give me right now, I don't need it. Yeah, I'm setting my foundation and I'm setting it strong. And anybody that's going to be added to me in a friendship, in business, in relationship, association, fucking neighbor, I will know exactly where to put you or if I should put you in my life at all. Because you're not going to come in and disrupt the harmony that I've worked so hard to establish with the divine. Okay? Because I've tried it and it works. And none of y'all can please me like God can. So don't ever try to get me to put you before my God. Okay? God is the giver and taker of life. Can you give life? Can you take life? No? Okay, then you lose. You're second fiddle. You play second fiddle. All right, so I'm gonna go now. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I hope that y'all found this to be as enlightening as I have. Okay, and possibly as fun too. Okay, until next time, darling. Go and do you. Those of you who are on autopilot, do your autopilot. Those of you who are co-pilot, congratulations for your upgrade, your co-pilot. And we give all praises to the pilot. Hail Selassie. Hail Empress Menen. Hail Marcus Garvey. Hail Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Hail Buddha. Hail Allah. Hail Jesus. Hail Krishna. Represent for your God like me. 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 Go on, God people. Until next time. Bye.